Bites of Delights is a magical journey.
A fairy tale in a real world.
Candyland, from here to there, to everywhere.
Rhythm and Bronze is a gamelan ensemble that was formed in 1997. The gamelan isn't something that most Malaysians know about or enjoy. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to create new compositions, and help develop our musicians to play good gamelan music in order to make gamelan relevant to the contemporary Malaysian audience. And we've also created a new method of performing which we call gamelan theatre.
The whole idea of doing Bites of Delights was, we noticed a lot of children actually have lost the passion in creativity. We really wanted them to experience that, have a good show, for them to stand on stage and be proud of who they are and have fun. That is really a missing component. They're too busy with homeworks and schools and they've forgotten it's so much fun to be on stage. When we were talking about this whole project, we were thinking a small project.
Yeah.
And we would say, okay, let's work with Jumping Jelly Beans because they work with children. I said, okay, so I met Shantini and Coffee Bean. And I just shared this idea about her, whether she would like to be part. And she said, yeah, why not? Let's just do it. So when we met up with Shantini, she said, okay, fine. She will handle the theatre aspect and Jill will handle the music aspect. So we've got two artistic directors to handle both the whole concept of the whole production.
We started brainstorming in January, and I had to get a director. So that's how I got Gafir involved under Jumping Jelly Beans to do the theatre aspect of it. And he has been wonderful because he has made my life as artistic director very, very smooth.
When I was approached, what happened was very simple. They asked, and I said yes. Shantini actually called me to just discuss some of the projects that we can work on, and she had saved Bites of Delights to the last. So we went through some different projects. And then the minute she mentioned, so we want to do Rhythm and Bronze and Jumping Jelly Beans, children's project, fairy tale, I said, yes.
And then when it came to music, and because Lorna has experience with children, we said, okay, let's call her, because Lorna has played with us before. So we said, oh, okay, let's get Lorna on board.
I was first asked to be in Bites of Delights by Sharmini, and she was a little bit evasive in what she was actually asking me to do. I didn't quite realise she was asking me to be music director, so she was quite sly on that one, because I kind of said, yeah, I'll get involved. I think it was destiny. I'm really, really, really happy that they asked me.
Bites of Delights is a series of 5 short stories. Children are supposed to be storytellers traveling along the spice trail.
We want to take stories that is very Asian. So when we selected the stories, we started adapting it to a certain country.
Bopuluchi,
Yep.
set in Persia. And then there's Tiki Tiki Tembo, set in China. Gopal, the court jester, set in the royal courts of India. And then we have Bawang Putih Bawang Merah, set in Kelantan, Malaysia. And then we have the Golden Goose, set in Japan.
We read a lot of stories. I think we took about 8 stories in the end and adapted all of them to the stage script. And then we read through them over and over again. We took some out, we put another one in, till we finally came upon 4. And then we still were scouring around for the final piece, which I think was Gopal the Court Jester, which was the final piece that we kind of put into it. So it was a long journey, much like the stories themselves, but we had a lot of fun doing it.
The auditions for Bites of Delights took place in April, and they were good fun, actually.
We had about 100 kids who came for the audition, and then they had to go through second call, and finally we picked some kids, and some of them we put them for the music, and some of them we put them for the theatre.
The first audition, wow. It was interesting, and we got to play the gamelan, we got to play dress up.
We basically played a lot of theater games and we do a lot of improvisation, and it gave us a challenge to challenge ourselves and the opportunity to step out of the shadow and be somebody else for a good cause.
When we first came to the audition, we thought that it was going to be really, really scary. Like they're going to give us scripts and roles, and we're going to read out the roles. But then when we got there, we were surprised to find out that it was fun.
They took about 20 of us into a room and they made us do really, really crazy fun things. And I think that's how they judged us. And I think it was a really good way because we were ourselves completely, because we weren't scared or nervous.
Tales of the past and today and tomorrow.
Bites of Delights is a music theatre project.
It's a performance done by 26 very, very talented children.
What's so special about it is that we use the gamelan to accompany the acting, which makes it so much better.
It's just a mixture of talent and culture at the same time.
And we lead the audience into that world of fantasy and magic.
We sing and dance our stories too.
Actually, I never saw gamelan before. I never knew gamelan, no, it's not in my mind.
No, I have no idea what gamelan is or how it looks like until the audition day.
I always thought it was like a really boring instrument.
What we made very clear from the start in terms of the artistic direction was the music and the acting had to occur in a very seamless, integrated way. We didn't want the musicians to be relegated to the background, you know, as
in a normal
you provide the
production,
music for us and that's it, but the actors are the stars.
We wanted the gamelan to be very prominent, and that's why we insisted that the instruments be on stage, and so the music and the acting is actually one unit.
The role of gamelan in this theatre production is to both support the theatre, support the story, tell the story, be the story. It's everything, really.
When I first heard it, I got chills. It's so nice. I don't know how to describe it.
The sound it makes is so magical. It brings you to another world almost.
From a performative point of view, the essence of Rhythm in Bronze is to connect with your instrument. And so when we play, the resonance of the music has to actually travel into our body and out again. People who say that Rhythm in Bronze is special, they've given us feedback that that's what they find very special, how in tune we are with the instrument, but more importantly with each other. And that's something that we wanted to impart to the children as well, because when you feel such a bond with a group of people who make beautiful music together, it gives you something extra. You feel good about yourself and you feel confident.
The difference from playing with gamelan to mainstream instruments, Western instruments, is that you have a lot less notes. And then also, because they've got a very specific sound, it's difficult to come up with lots of other ways to express using the sound. So you have to be very imaginative and very creative.
But watch for the thieves and beware the dark place. Villains seem godly and madmen seem sane. They'll trick you and take you for all that you own. A gullible fool or a woman alone. So stay in the market, away from.
Our rehearsals was actually divided into two. So the music team had their own rehearsals at Min Consult, where Rhythm and Bronze is residing. And the acting theatre team was rehearsing at Five Arts.
We started off the first 2 or 3 months just doing workshops. We learned just sort of how to express ourselves in a creative way, using our bodies, using our voice, using our imagination.
We started in quite an unconventional way. We used a Pink song. We used the song Perfect. We actually sang it through first, and then I explained to them that actually what they were singing was something that they could play on the gamelan, and then I just let them have a go, try and figure it out for themselves.
First couple of months, we would just read through the script over and over again. And then we picked key moments in each of the stories, moments that needed sort of a choreography or a particular movement, and then we just pulled them out and then tried to rehearse just that bit.
Usually it would take us about 3 weeks or so to put together one whole story. Of course, some stories were faster than others, but slowly it got done.
Mother!
Bye! I was spit! I'm coming! I may be going back, but I can say hello!
Mother!
The last one to the world is a smelly monkey!
Don't talk about that thing. It was what to talk about. And they won't again for the rest of the day. Give me a piece of your sushi and a sip of your tea.
It was very tricky to pick which character goes with which actor. The exercise that we did, just in terms of picking out different scenes, key moments, and just have them switch around. And then slowly, as their personality comes out, and then we realized that, okay, maybe this person will be best suited for this role. But what was important was that they all had an opportunity to play a lead role or lead character. So that was taken into consideration as well. So, you know, you may not necessarily think that this person, this actor is most suited for this role, but if you give them the opportunity, they will show up. They will rise to the occasion.
So I think the first story we actually looked at was Bopalucci, and there was quite an obvious sense of where the music would fit within Bopalucci. I think Daniel was quite crucial actually to the creative process for that one, because the percussion is quite a big element, and I think everybody realising that you didn't just have to sit there and go like this, they suddenly began to understand that they weren't just the musicians that were going to be sat at the back or sat at the front, they were actually crucially part of the story. That was a nice part of the process. We had to work really hard to create the music with the children. I think layering was quite a good process for us in creating music. I might give the initial bit, because that would be where my head was. Like the opening to Bopalucci, for example, was one that we layered, which is quite a nice way to work, I think, because you've got so many instruments.
For us to get the hang of playing the gamelan, it took us about a few months. To play it is easy, to master it is difficult.
And to them. And to memorize those notes.
Huh?
One of the main challenges for Bites of Delights was the fact that each of the 5 stories were set in 5 different countries from the Spice Trail. So we had quite a few fantastic experts come in. We had some Chinese opera workshops. We actually looked more at the performance skills involved and using the props, and if you see Tiki Tiki Tembo, you'll see quite a lot of the things we learnt from that. We had a Japanese drumming workshop, which obviously we've put to use. They're even more expressive when they're playing the Japanese drums, so that was a fantastic choreography kind of exercise. We had 2 different experts from Indian music coming in, one to do the konako, and then another to work more exclusively working on the tabla, and also some of the singing and the harmonium.
We're going to do a full run.
Once we started the joint rehearsals, it was only a few months away before we were going to be on stage. So every minute counted. You can't take gamelan home with you. So the music team actually adapted and we were coming in earlier for a lot of the rehearsals so we could at least have our solid block of time to rehearse together.
Towards the middle part of it, we faced some challenges of trying to figure out how the music team and the acting team can kind of create a cohesive show since we've both been working separately. So there are some ideas that the theatre group have kind of run off with and the music group have run off with, and then it might be different, so we have to try to find a kind of a midpoint or go in one direction or the other.
Joint rehearsals are really, really fun. Because you see, like at first it was kind of awkward because we all didn't know each other yet. Like actors hanged out with the actors, musicians hanged out with the musicians. But then slowly a musician went to the actor group and the actor went to the musician group. And then, boom, we all became friends.
It feels very fun, exciting. Sometimes we fight a little.
Rehearsing with the whole group. Wow, all I can say is it was fun for us and it was tough for the directors. I think Gaffer and Lorna had a tough time trying to keep a control on us.
What is my special technique to control 26 boisterous kids? I unfortunately realized this much later in the rehearsal process. Deep in our stage management kit lies a loudspeaker. And then there's also a siren button. So every time I press the siren, this police siren comes on. And then all of them will automatically come together, they would get on their knees with their hands up and surrender to my loudspeaker.
For me, the best way to keep control is to just keep varied and to be able to gauge when the group's energy is shifting. So if you can sense that they don't really have the enthusiasm anymore, you either stop and have a break or even just a shift in what you're doing. If you keep changing it often enough, they don't get bored. So if they don't get bored, they don't get rowdy.
We wanted to find a good patron. First thing that came to our mind was actually Datin Paduka, Marina Mahathir, because when we were thinking of people who reflects what we are and what we want to do, and we thought Marina was actually quite ideal.
Sometime, I think it was early this year or late last year, Shamini and Gillian approached me. I immediately knew it would be a great project, so I said yes.
Because Marina is with the Board of Trustees of Maybank Foundation, she gave us the avenue for us to do a presentation to the Board of Trustees. Within that day after we presented, they said, we'll support you all. And I said, oh, fantastic. And then the first thing we got, oh God, we got this project sponsored.
Our first big press conference was for the Maybank Foundation, and what they did was we did our opening market song for them. And I think that was actually the first time that the Maybank Foundation people had actually seen the kids in action. So that was a big wow for them.
The Maybank press conference was a bit nerve-wracking for me because I had to speak. I think I did okay, but then I felt like I was talking too fast. Was I? I think I was.
To me, playing gamelan is a wonderful, fun, awesome, and interesting experience. Everyone should try it. Seriously, I'm not kidding.
So the whole process of us going with UNICEF was, since it's an all-children's cast, we said, hey, why don't we do it in line with the Universal Children's Day? Because they were doing a whole month of celebration of children. So whatever we were doing fell very nicely to what their whole objective of that the month of celebration.